Hello everyone. Well, another benchmark since the last time I actually did a benchmark video on this channel about a video game. Well, it kind of didn't took up as planned and it took far too long to record. So yeah, might as well give it another shot. This time the game in question is Counter-Strike 2, the new Counter-Strike that has been out for like 2 weeks or so. And I heard a lot of complaints that it's harder to run, and many people with lower spec or older spec computers can't even actually play it because of low performance, up top of any other bullshit issue that the game has. Subticks, missing commands, missing factions, missing content, the list goes on. So yeah, without kind of rambling, let's just get in what we're playing on. 9 generation and 8 gigabytes of RAM at the moment. Planning to upgrade to 16 gigabytes on this computer very soon. And we also have a GeForce GT 730 for the graphics card. And not only that, instead of actually playing on my actual monitor, which is almost 1080, kind of 1050p. It's kind of like the HD monitor. This time I actually even downgraded the display to a 4x3 one that goes up to 1024 by 768 with obsolete for anything modern. Yes, good for old games, and it has 75 hertz, which is pretty much a Counter-Strike competitive gamer's wet dream. So actually, never mind. It's actually a lot higher than 75 hertz. So let's just start the game. So anyway, here's the game. It launched. We can just check the video. Yes, 1024 by 768. I selected the 75 hertz to make use of this monitor's high refresh rate. And over here, we're just gonna go all the lowest. No anti-aliasing. Texture filtering is gonna be off. Everything to the lowest that can possibly go. Despite the game telling me to use medium, I'm not gonna use medium. Ambient occlusion and high dynamic range are disabled and set to performance. NVIDIA reflex low latency is disabled, and fidelity effects is disabled for the first run. I can set it to like balanced or performance, but I will dive deep into later on that one just to see the performance. So it looks nice graphically, and we're just gonna start a deathmatch run. Right, if the audio sounds a bit weird, that's because I actually edit the audio in post because the original script, well, didn't go as I actually planned. So I decided to, make a new one, record the audio, and put it in this video. Hopefully, some of you people don't actually complain about it, and I hope it turns out actually good in video. So, yeah. Either way, back to what we were saying. Well, we just ended up loading up a deathmatch match on Dust 2 without having to wait a bit longer because I actually cut the loading part, and well, I had to struggle a bit to actually enable the FPS counter and fire a weapon at the same time. So yeah, sometimes it happens when you go unprepared for a video, but either way, let's just start counting the frames. Well, this time we're getting 40 to 60 to 80 FPS at max, which is kind of impressive for a new game. But it's not impressive when you compare it to like CSGO on the same machine, which was 110 to 120 FPS with the same settings. But either way, we're getting playable FPS, and I'm kind of not good at this game at the moment, but I'm still doing well with these frames. You can easily get away with similar frames like this. Then I actually lowered the fidelity effects from quality to performance, and we got even more frames and probably even more stable frames on Dust 2 than anything else. Well, the other map that's kind of easier to run is actually Mirage, Nuke, and Office. which these maps will actually do well with these settings and fidelity effects as disabled. So it's actually playable on maps like this. Even though I'm not the greatest Counter-Strike player, I still do kind of well for the most part. And it's kind of enjoyable if you're only playing on maps like this. I chose to play a deathmatch match instead of a competitor for a casual match because it's much easier to record and I won't have to spend a long time waiting after I get killed and having to repeat the same process over and over again. So it's actually much easier to record a gameplay like this. I could have recorded with bots, but it's much better to show performance when playing against actual people than bots, because bots are kind of predictable. So since we tested the easier maps, might as well actually test some of the new remade maps. Now, initially I wanted to get into a match on Inferno, because that's a bit more of a demanding map, but I couldn't get into a match, and every time I tried to do that, I would actually get kicked from the server, because this game is still in a open beta stage rather than a complete game. I mean, I was testing the October 12 build at the time of recording, but I might as well improve over time so we have less bugs and issues like that. So eventually, instead of going to Inferno, I got into Italy, which is kind of in a similar vein to Inferno, but it's even more demanding than the 4 maps I mentioned. So while I was impressed on getting frame rates like 60 on this map map actually drops to like 30 to 25 FPS at times. That's with fidelity effects enabled on quality. So you might as well enjoy the game like this if you want the best graphics, but sacrificing putting on everything on lowest if you have a system similar like this. But from the new remake Italy, I actually like how they put the amount of detail into this map, making it a pretty decent looking map in general in comparison to the Counter-Strike Global Offensive counterpart, which looked drab, depressing, and it wasn't really a good map in terms of looks. It was like they took the Counter-Strike Source version, updated a bit, and left it to rot in the game. So it was a nice improvement. Either way, I disabled the fidelity effects. I put it to performance, and while I got even more stable FPS, the frame rate still drops. But however, it wasn't a dramatic drop. It was still actually playable, which is kind of impressive on this resolution, which is I have much issues with 720p with my main monitor on this game because of the frame rates and the new engine. I mean, it was bound to happen. Like, a new engine was about to drop, so what can you do really about it? So either way, while the performance is actually impressive and it kind of impressed me on this hardware, it's not what I would consider to be a competitive FPS. Now sure, it's way playable. It's much playable than my Nier Automata on this similar system, but do you really want to play Counter-Strike competitively or with low frame rates? Absolutely not. But if you're a casual gamer, you can just actually get away with frame rates like this. So, yeah. So, how would I conclude this video? Well, Counter-Strike 2 on this system, it's actually playable, but if you realistically lower your expectations. Now, if you have a similar system or a slower computer, maybe even an older one, you might actually get away with frames like this. I'm playing it kind of decently on low settings and this low resolution. But if you want something with higher frames and better graphics, well, there's CSGO, but it's actually gone at the moment. I mean, it's still there, in the beta channel, but if you really want to actually play CSGO, you have to do it bots, unless some talented programmers actually recreate some servers that you can actually make the game still playable. I highly doubt it at this time, but hopefully in the near future we'll see a CSGO resurrection. In the meantime, if you want to play something that actually has actual player counts in the high region, which is from the last time I checked during the making of this video, well, Counter-Strike 1.6 and Source are still the best options at the moment. Yeah, they might be old, they might be a bit dated in graphics or gameplay sometimes, but they're still pretty much fun and still have people still playing these games. So, which means going back to 1.6 and Source is probably the best option if you really want something that's a bit playable on a low-end system like this. But from Counter-Strike 2, I was actually impressed, and you can actually have fun with this, unless if you lower your expectations to the lowest. So yeah, that's all I had to say. Thanks for watching, and I will definitely see you in the next time.